Hey guys, come shopping at the flea market with me. If you want to watch other kinds of videos that are sort of like this but not exactly the same, feel free to subscribe and like for more content. I make a ton of videos of me going to different kinds of thrift stores, charity stores, and all sorts of places like that. I also try a bunch of food, so be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. You'd really be helping me out. And there's a ton of fun content being released every single week. Be sure to comment down below what your favorite flea market is if you've ever been one, or comment that you've never been to a flea market. I have personally been coming to this flea market for many, many years now. It's been like 2 decades, honestly. I remember the first time that I actually remember coming to this flea market was when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and my mom and brother and dad, basically the whole family, had come to the flea market, and we were all just kind of walking around. One of my favorite parts of that memory is that my dad got me and my brother orange soda from like a vending machine, and we split it. And I don't know why, that's just such a weird part of the memory to remember, but it's kind of funny how your memory works like that. It always remembers like the strangest part. But yeah, this flea market has been something that my family has been going to for literally decades now. We've been living in this area for like 25, 30 years, and for the vast majority of that time, I know that my parents have been coming to this place. Unfortunately, there was a hurricane fairly recently, I think within the past couple of years, that tore up the pavilions that used to be here. So you can kind of see in the video that there are a few pavilions left where a bunch of sellers were doing their kind of gig work and selling things, but a lot of those have actually disappeared. And there used to be like 4 or 5 rows of these kinds of pavilions, but nowadays there's only like two, which is really sad because that means like a lot of these vendors no longer come because it gets so hot around where my parents live that it's kind of brutal to be out there without any kind of shade or anything. My favorite part of being at a flea market is that it's not nearly as like corporate or business feeling as like an ordinary thrift store or charity shop like a Goodwill or something is. Like obviously there's still like this sense of, you're being sold stuff, but it's not nearly as much of like you're being pushed to buy things, or like you're actively getting hawked at, I guess, as like if I were to go to a Salvation Army or a Goodwill outlet. At least in my opinion, I feel like the vibes are much more chill at a flea market, and whenever I do come to this flea market, or any flea market really, I notice that a lot of people are just kind of like talking, chit chatting, like kind of just experiencing the vibes more than just like actively being forced to like buy something, or actively trying really hard to sell something. For a lot of the people who come to this flea market, it's mostly just like a thing to do on their Saturdays or Sundays, and it's not really like their primary source of income, which I really do enjoy. This flea market also has like a bunch of people selling like veggies and fruits and like plants, even some live animals, although I don't know like the ethical natures buying like a chicken or a rabbit from a flea market. But that is another thing that I think is really cool because you can kind of get like everything that you need. I personally bought like a bunch of different veggies from various sellers at this flea market, and it's always a really good price, at least in my opinion. Plus, the quality is literally farm fresh. It's not like you go to a Publix or like some other grocery store and you buy something that has like preservatives and wax and all sorts of like other unknown substances to try to keep it alive for longer. No, these people literally grow food in like their own land. They pick it and then they come and sell it, and they sell it for like super cheap too, which like the quality of that is bar none. And one of my favorite vegetables like ever is eggplant. I bought like 4 eggplants for $1 each, mind you. And they were like massive eggplants too, like as big as my arm, kind of massive. And my arm, I actually measured recently, is exactly 10 inches long. So that's like how big. And it's one of those like super wide eggplants too. Like it's a really good deal is what I'm trying to say, because normally those go for like $1.99 per pound at a normal grocery store. And I got them for like $1 each. And when I actually cooked them and like ate them, it was so good, like so succulent and fresh, and just like so much better than the kind of eggplants that you get at a grocery store, if I'm being honest. And so that is definitely one of like the highlights of coming to a flea market is in general. Besides all the wonderful people that you get to see and meet and talk to and kind of swap stories about like their journeys and like where they got all of this stuff and why they're even selling in the first place, you just kind of get better quality items from it. And another really, really great thing about coming to these kinds of open air markets is that you can actually haggle to get basically anything you want. Like one time I came to this market and I bought a rubber duck. The guy was asking for like $1 for this rubber duck, and I was like, "Can I give you a quarter?" And he actually agreed to it, which is like a 75% reduction in the price. And like we ended up like talking a little bit about how long he'd been there, what kind of stuff he sells, like why he is doing this. So it was really just a nice moment. I got like something that I wanted for cheaper than I would have at like any normal thrift store. I like talked to a guy who like kind of made his living off of this. It was just really fun. And that's to me one of the best parts of being like at a flea market or any one of these kinds of markets in general. I think that flea markets are unfortunately dying out kind of across America. Not a lot of people want to do this kind of stuff anymore, but it is really just one of like the most, I guess, American things that you can do, in my opinion. Like it's being a business owner for your own like entrepreneurial efforts, and that's just so cool to me. I also love just coming around and walking around and seeing all the different things that people are selling. There's always so many unique characters at a flea market that it just makes your entire day. That's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.